Hello and welcome to Matt's Mosh Pit, and tonight I'm going to be giving you my review of Paradise Lost's 17th studio album, Ascension. But before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much for all the love and support you've shown me and my channel so far. It truly means a lot, and I could not do this without you. As luck would have it, the label gods decided to bestow upon me the brand new album from Paradise Lost, Ascension. It was kind of interesting because I should preface this by the fact that I know Paradise Lost is a death doom / Gothic metal, pioneer, as one would say. They've been around for like 30 plus years, maybe even close to 40 years. And I hear their name all the time. But honestly, I never really listened to them except for, I did 2 reactions so far on the channel for the 2 singles from this particular album. So I really don't have a history with them. And I did like what I heard, as my reactions indicated. So when I got the album, I was really kind of intrigued going, hey, this is cool. I wonder if I'll like the whole thing. But I did want to preface the fact that I don't have this long history with them. And I know that there's fans that have been with them since day one. There's been fans that have probably started off and then dropped off, and some fans that joined just along the way, just like myself. Here's basically my, take on the album. I will say, once again, without having history with the band, this album is very, very doomy and gloomy. It's one of those, you could be like, the happiest go lucky person in the world. You hit play on this album, and by the end of it, you're just like, you're just feeling the weight, the gloom, the doom. It definitely makes you feel that way, from start to finish. So, it's one of those things that if you're just like walking down the street, just, happy as can be, and for some reason that feeling is not good for you, put this album on, because it just takes you down a few notches, and it just makes you feel the weight of the world. And it's all in this album. I have 3 favorite songs from the album, and they're different for different reasons. The first song is one of my favorite songs of the album. It's the first single that came out, called Serpent and the Cross. And if you saw my reaction, I enjoyed that single quite a bit. And it is a great first song to the album because it just really sets the tone. It gives you that this driving, impending doom, gloom feel, and the harsh vocals are fantastic. And so it just really just gives you that driving. It's when the weight just starts to come crashing on your shoulders and you just feel this vibe. So it's a great tone setter, for lack of better terms. Then I would say a couple other standout songs for me is there's a song called Savage Days, which is more, I'd say, on the Gothic side of things. It gives me some Cemetery Skyline vibes, which are super cool. I just love that overall vibe. And then they have another song called Lay a Wreath Upon the World, which I don't know why, but it reminds me of an old school Alice in Chains acoustic type of vibe. And it just has this how Alice in Chains just kind of has that same kind of doom, kind of thing with it. I get the same vibes from that song as well. So those are kind of my top 3 songs on the album. I did enjoy the album for the most part. It's one of you got to feel the vibe basically. And if you're feeling the vibe, it's a great album from start to finish. The only cons I would have with this album are the fact that there's a similar tone throughout, and I feel like it's in the guitar tone, but it's very similar throughout. On one end, it's very cohesive, but then on the other hand, there's, very little change. And I still and I know it's kind of this pit of doom, but I do feel like you can change the doom around a little bit. Maybe that's just me, but it does kind of stick with a very similar tone throughout. And so with the subtle changes, because once again, there are some songs with death growls, there are some songs that are more Gothic type, but it still has this underlying guitar tone, I would say. And the other aspect is there's a couple what I would call filler songs, and not to say that they're bad songs. They actually fit very well within the album, but they don't really stand out to me as much. And I think, what it is, and I've listened to the album quite a few times at this point because I've really been trying to pinpoint what it is that bothers me a little bit about these particular songs. And I would say that the lead singer, his name is Nick Holmes, he has a interesting range. It's like a really cool range. He's got his death growls are really, really great. I think he's got a great death growl voice. And when he does it in the songs, it's just fantastic. He, on the other hand, he has a really, really great clean vocal, and it gives you that Gothic, more like, kind of Michael Stanne's clean vocal kind. It gives you that good feel. But then there's this like mid range, for lack of better terms. And once again, you guys know I don't play any instruments. I'm not a singer or anything like that. So it's just my terminology. So forgive me for that one. But he's got kind of like a mid range that when he's singing, it gives me that same kind of cadence as like James Hetfield from Metallica, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like he doesn't do he doesn't do that kind of thing, but it's more in the cadence and the tone, I'd say. And with that being said, the songs I think come off as like, for me, they're kind of like newer Metallica. I'm like I'm an old school Metallica fan, meaning anything from the Black Album and below is my wheelhouse for Metallica. I didn't really like anything beyond that. And I think some of these songs, those mid-tempo songs, kind of give that vibe of like later era Metallica, and it's just more of like just nothing just grabs. It's not bad, and it just doesn't really grab me necessarily. And the sad thing is some of those songs sound like they would probably be really, really good live. And having just seen Metallica recently, I can say as much as I didn't like the albums beyond the Black Album, when they play some of those songs from the later stuff, they sound much better live than they do on album. And so I'm thinking some of these, Paradise Lost songs that I'm considering filler might actually be really, really great live. They just didn't really do anything for me on the album. But all in all, the album is very, very solid. I think if you're I'd say a long-term Paradise Lost fan, then you should just go buy the album anyway to support the band. But I would say you're probably going to like it. I can't compare it to anything they've done in the past, but I enjoy it. If you like just a doomy, gloomy, and you just want to feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, this album is for you. So for me, all in all, I would give it a solid 3 out of 5 horns. I actually wavered on almost giving it a 4 out of 5, but my problem with that is I really don't have much of a history with them, but also I want to see if this is an album that will stand the test of time. So I'm kind of hesitant, but I think a 3 is a very, very solid score. For me, you should, if you're on the fence, definitely go buy it or check it out. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. If you like the doomy, gloomy stuff, then you absolutely need to check this album out. If you're happy-go-lucky and all that kind of good stuff, you might want to pass. But all in all, for like a purposely doomy, gloomy album, and I really, really enjoyed it, and it does make me want to go back and check out more from Paradise Lost. I'm probably going to do a deep dive because I really, really enjoyed it. And once again, I really wanted to. I was torn between going between a 3 and a 4 horns, but just for the fact that there were a couple, like I said, kind of filler songs, it kind of pushed me back into the 3. But quite frankly, if you were to ask me probably a month from now, I could easily see giving this a 4 out of 5 horns. But at this point, I think I'm just going to stick with a 3 as of today. I really want to know what your thoughts are on the album. So when it comes out, definitely check it out, and let me know, because I really would like to know if maybe it's not as gloomy as I think it is. Maybe the songs that I thought might have been filler songs are your favorite songs. It's just this open community, so please, please, please. Your voice matters, and I'm very, very curious to see which songs you enjoyed the most from this album. With that being said, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.